Hello, guys, and welcome back to As a Sports. And today I'm going to be having a look back at round three and just having a look over the whole round and see how all the teams went and see how I went with my tips, and also to have a look at what the NRL ladder looks like at the end of the three rounds. Um, yeah, a quick side note: how great has the start of the season been? Honestly, this season has been absolutely outstanding thus far. The quality of the games, they've all been very close. On the weekend, there were a few blowout games, but that was mainly due to the heat and how hot it was on the weekend. And there were a few more errors this week in games, but the game quality of games overall was still very good, very high quality. And yeah, I just can't wait to watch the rest of the season play out. And it's actually becoming really hard to figure out who's going to win this year. And like I said in my last few videos, this season is definitely the closest season to date we've had, and I can't wait to watch the rest of it. It's really great. And yeah, um, it's just very outstanding to watch thus far. Um, but yeah, before we start, make sure to like and subscribe, and also hit that notification bell down the bottom there, so you can stay up to date when I post, and you can check in on all my videos. Um, and yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and yeah, let's get into how round three went. So yeah, the first game of the week was the Seagulls taking on the Eels. So the Seagulls downed the Eels 34-30 in a very high scoring game down there in Manly. Yeah, it was a very weird game, this one, because the Manly were all over the Eels in that first 20 or so minutes. But then all of a sudden they just kind of let the foot off the accelerator a little bit, and the Eels kind of forced a couple of errors out of them, and then they got Gutherson was outstanding for them. He got a try himself, sort of cut through the defense. There wasn't much doing, and then Mitch Moses set up a beautiful short ball to Matt Dory um, to get him over just before halftime. Um, but yeah, it was a very very good game, this one. Uh, yeah, so Josh Schuster again, as I mentioned in my preview, which I'll link in the description. He was outstanding. Um, just these trick plays and passing the ball, not looking, passing, and the way he set up Turbo and the balls he gave to his outside men, and the delivery and the execution of the passes was brilliant. Um, but again, his defense still needs some work, but he looked pretty fit, which is something we've always questioned about him, his lack of fitness, but he looked really fit, and he looked on fire there for the Manly side. Also, that little chip over the top to Tommy Turbo, his second try, that was outstanding. That little chip, and have the confidence and ability to do that when there was nothing on. The Parramatta Eels had that kick covered, and he just dinks it over the top of Gutho. And for Tommy to have the awareness to run through and just plant it down just before dead ball line, that basically got the momentum back to the Manly side. But before that, the Parramatta were on top and they were in front. Um, but yeah, it was a very weird old game. Again, Ola Kawatu was outstanding. Some of the shots he put on, some of the shots in general, Manly put on, their forward pack again was just absolutely outstanding. Even that Kohler kid, he was absolutely outstanding. The shot he put on Micah Sevo first half absolutely flattened him. He got flattened quite a few times in this game, which you don't see Micah Sevo being flattened that often, but he's been outstanding to start the season. Micah Sevo, he got another double here this week. Josh Hodgson also got his first try for the Eels. He was decent. He had his bad moments again though, but he was okay in this game. He provided some decent um, service out dummy half, but as the game went on, he got better and better. But to start the game, he was very average, but he got better as the game went on. Um, and yeah, he was okay there for the Eels. So yeah, a weird old game, but yeah, Manly just got the job done, 34-30. Um, yeah, good signs for Manly to start the year. They've got a very good start. Parramatta, they've been disappointing, but again, they haven't been that far off in games. But they have a very tough game coming up this week against Penrith. That's going to be a very tough game, especially with Penrith coming off a bye. So yeah, tough kind of next couple of weeks there for the Eels. But yeah, they're still not out of the top 8 race yet, but they're in big trouble if they lose this week. And again, for Manly, they just seem to get better and better. But obviously, defense wasn't great this week, but letting in 30, but they'll improve next week for sure. So, yeah, great game to start the week. Manly got the job done. So, yeah, my prediction, I said the Manly, I said Parramatta wouldn't win 12 because they're a bit more desperate, which they were very desperate in this game. Don't get me wrong, but they just, again, made too many errors, dropped the ball too often. Gave away too many penalties. And at the start of the game, they just didn't help themselves with their right edge defense or their left edge defense being horrible. And just Manly were just running right down that edge. So that needs to be fixed very quickly because Penrith will absolutely exploit that this week. But yeah, great way to start the week. Unlucky for Parramatta, but Manly were just a little bit too good on a night with Tommy Turbo being, again, outstanding. I can't praise him enough. He was absolutely exceptional. Very safe at the back. Schuster was great. Garrick's goal kicking was very good. Manly forward pack was good in general. Defense obviously could have been better, but they'll be happy that they got the job done there. Next game, we had the Dolphins coming on top, winning 36-20 against the Knights down at John Jones Stadium. Again, the Dolphins just keep going from strength to strength. They're proven to be a very hard team to beat this year. They really are. I did say to start this year off before this season started that they would be a side that would be hard to beat, but I just didn't see them winning as many games as they have. But they've been very good to start the year. Again, Jermaine Asako, he's been absolutely outstanding with his goal kicking, and he got a double there for them at the end of the game. Tessie New got a hat trick. The Hammer again got another long range try, and Code Nikarima got a try there as well. Scooting over from dummy half, and yeah, Lockie Miller again. He was the standout for the Knights in a beaten side. Again, he was very outstanding, very good for them. And yeah, obviously the big talking point out of this game is Felice Kafusi. Could be out for 3 to 4 weeks with that late hit on Tyson no, not Tyson Gamble. It was Jackson Hastings. Yeah, I mean, personally, it's a tough one because obviously we want to get tackles out of the game where our playmakers are protected, which I'll get onto another one in a minute. Another incident that I'll talk about in a few games' time. But yeah, like we're trying to protect our players now by stopping late hits on attackers. But to Billy Slater's point, who I can agree with him on this point that I can see in the footage. Yes, he's coming out and trying to make a hit on him. Yes, he was a bit late, but you saw he was trying to brace himself and kind of stop at the last minute before he passed it. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see where he gets off or not. But yeah, if he is out, that's going to be a big out for the Dolphins because he's been their enforcer and their hitman first few weeks. But yeah, last week on the weekend he had a bit of a shocker. But yeah, we'll see how he goes and whether he's going to be able to play this week or not against the Broncos. That's going to be an absolute cracker of a game, which I'll preview that in my next video in a few days' time. But yeah, outstanding of a game, this one. Yeah, the scoreboard, it doesn't really reflect how this game went because, again, for this game, for the majority of the game, it was pretty close up until the 66th minute. Like the first 70 minutes, again, it was like 26-20 to the Dolphins. So the Knights were still in the game. But then all of a sudden, the Dolphins just get some late tries to Jermaine Asako that just lets them go clear. And they got the job done. So, yeah, Dolphins are just proving from strength to strength. And again, they're proving as a very tough side to beat this year. Their toughness within games that's what Wayne Bennett's side do. They're very tough to beat, and the Dolphins are exactly the same. As for the Knights, yeah, I thought they were pretty disappointing in that last 5 minutes, 10 minutes or so. But they probably still had a chance to win. But yeah, the Dolphins just got a bit outclassed in this game. Sorry, the Knights got outclassed in this game. They just defensively in the middle, they struggled obviously with Daniel Saifidi and Tyson Frizzell not being there. That's two massive outs. I thought creatively, attacking wise, they looked not that great, considering obviously Kalen Ponga being out. Again, that's a massive out. Also with Jaden Brayley, who um, could have provided some better service there. But Phoenix Crossan, I mean, he was decent for them in this game, but they're missing some spark in attack and some meat in their defensive line with Daniel Saifidi and Tyson Frizzell being out. Um, but yeah, again, it was a very good game to watch. But yeah, Dolphins were just a little too good. Um, yeah, for poor old Knights. Once they get their players back, hopefully they'll be a bit more competitive. But they were just a little bit outclassed on that night by the Dolphins, who were just a little bit too good. Um, but yeah, we'll see how the Knights go this week. And for the Dolphins, I can't wait to see them play against the Broncos. And yeah, the Knights, yeah, we'll see how they go this week. But yeah, it was always going to be very tough for them to win, not having four of their best players starting um, in your starting side being out. It's always going to be tough. But they did put in a good effort for the majority of the game, but they just got outclassed in the end. The Dolphins kind of ran away with it at the end there. Um, Another great game, this one. And also I tipped the Dolphins, yeah, to get the job done here. I did say 13 plus, so in the end I was right. But I mean, sorry, I said 1 to 12. I said they'd win by 10 points, so I was only 6 points off, so pretty close there. But yeah, Dolphins are just too good. Yeah. So anyway, back to this game. Roosters getting the job done against the Rabbitohs. What a game this was! Again, very similar to the last few. The Rabbitohs were absolutely on top in that first 20 minutes. They were all over the Roosters in this game. Kolomatangi got that try there early, 7th minute, and Alex Johnston also got another one to add to his tally in the 12th minute. They were absolutely outstanding to start the game. They were all over the Roosters pack. The Roosters were struggling to make meters. They were coming out of their end. They had barely any possession. And the Rabbitohs just all over the top of them. But once JWH and the Cheese, Brendan Smith came on, they were absolutely unstoppable. From that point onwards, basically the game turned from there. And yeah, Brandon Smith was exceptional at dummy half there, showing why he was a very good signing. The way he just ran through with only one marker being there. Again, once JWH made that run, a couple of minutes into his stint, he was absolutely outstanding. He was massive. And he definitely was missed in that first 2 weeks by the Roosters because he is definitely their enforcer and he made a lot of big impact for them coming off the bench. And the way he pretty much single-handedly put it to that Roosters or that Rabbitohs pack was outstanding. I thought Jackson Paulo was very good against his old club, getting that double there, getting them over the line. And he's also very solid at the back there. Made some good yardage coming out of their own backfield. But yeah, Roosters were just a little bit more composed on this night. Yeah, I thought personally, like, I can agree with some of the comments made. Like, I just thought that, like, the Rabbitohs, once something goes against them, they just seem to get too frustrated and too, like, their head just goes and they just get too frustrated, too frantic. And they just made too many errors that night, gave away too many cheap penalties. Against the Roosters quality side, you can't do that. And they just, yeah, made too many errors, too many penalties. And yeah, they just couldn't get their head back in the game after JWH and Brandon Smith took the game away from them, basically. And I thought, yeah, Luke Keary kicked well. He controlled the game pretty well there for the Roosters. Same with Sam Walker. He's kicked very well for the Roosters as well. Um, but yeah, Souths, Souths. I mean, yeah, after that first 20 minutes, they were basically outgunned for the rest of the game. Well, they did get one late to make it an interesting contest. Um, but yeah, Roosters' defense as well. Like James Tedesco, he saved two tries that should probably would have been certain tries. With Cameron Murray breaking through early, um, he could have easily scored, but he cut him down just 10 meters or so out from the line. And then he also got another try saver. Can't remember who it was on, but it was another try saver, and also Joe Manu's. I'm gonna say that was the player of the game because that was with 5 minutes to go, that was what got him sin binned. Oh no, it wasn't 5 minutes ago. It was a bit before that. Isaiah Tass broke through, and Joe Manu taps the ball out, and with 10 meters to go, he would have easily got over the momentum. Isaiah Tass, he saved a certain try, and that's what got the Roosters over the line, I reckon. And also Joe Manu did also drop one um, over the line, and then he also had a six again earlier in the game, which I don't think he maybe couldn't hear because of his headgear. Um, and he handed it back to the Rabbitohs when they didn't have much ball, but that was a bit of an interesting point in the game there. I thought that might have been a turning point, but wasn't to be. But yeah, the Roosters were just a little bit more calm, composed in this game, and that's basically what got them over the line. And a few of their try savers, like Rabbitohs, could have very easily won this game, but with three try savers, the Roosters were just more desperate on the night, and they just wanted it more than the Rabbitohs did. Um, but yeah, Rabbitohs went missing in that second half, really. Um, but yeah, they'll get better. But yeah, I was very interested to see that there's only one fight in this game. That was between Joe Manu and Michael Cheekham at the end there, where Joe Manu got sin bin for his shot on Isaiah Tass after the Bunnies had a forward pass called from I think it was Tom Burgess. It was a forward pass to one of his centers. I think it might have been to Isaiah Tass, and he broke through, but he got kind of a high shot on him at the end there. Um, and there was a scuffle where Michael Cheekham came in and again hit poor Joe Manu on his cheekbone, which again flared up. So the poor guy, Joe Manu, can't seem to get a break. But yeah, it was a good game nonetheless. And Michael Cheekham also came in and gave the punch, obviously, which is what got him sin binned. Um, but yeah, it was a very, very good game to watch. And yeah, Roosters, again, a little bit more composed, too good on the night. Rabbitohs were a bit frantic and they just made a bit too many errors. Um, and yeah, they just got out beaten in the middle. That's basically all that happened, really. JWH and Cheese just basically tore them apart. Yeah. Now onto the well, a lot of people say it's upset of the round, but I saw this coming. My boys, the Titans, getting the job done 38-34 against Melbourne up there on the Gold Coast. What a game this was. Again, this was a very hot game up there. Um, wasn't much of a defensive game as a try fest. 12 tries being scored. But yeah, I was very happy with our team. Lofi Anakan Pereira, he was outstanding with his double. I told you he was going to be a very good player, and he is a very good player. He's already got 3 tries to start the year. Very outstanding job from him. Brian Kelly was also very good on his return. Aaron Shop got a double. He was very good. Joe Vuna showed some good signs there. Also, he got that try there to start the second half. For the Storm, I thought Jonah Pezzett, was pretty good when he came on off the bench. He sparked them alive, basically, to start the game there. But apart from that, I thought Harry Grant had some occasional good touches, but he was a bit frantic at a dummy half there. Hughes had some okay moments, but he wasn't that great on the night. Nick Meaney again, he got another double for the Storm. I thought he was pretty good. But again, they just made too many errors, too many penalties in this game. That was the big difference. They just gave away too many errors, too many penalties, let us into the game, and um, yeah. So in terms of that, so in 39th minute when Brian Kelly got his try off a nice kick from Brimson, AJ Brimson, um, who again I thought he was exceptional. He's always very good for us. Tino as well, he was outstanding in the middle. Fafita did well too um, in the heat there. Yeah, so Brian Kelly's trying half time to get us back in the game because it was actually 24-18 at half time. So that try right on the stroke of half time got us back in the game. Then again, Eli Katoa made a mistake coming out of yardage off his own 10-meter line, and Joe Vuna stripped the ball up and scored. And that pretty much just set us up to win the game, really. And then Shop, only a couple minutes later, got a try for us. We ran 80 meters after Jerome Hughes knocked the ball on there. But the other thing, I want to talk about about the halfback situation from the last game. So Jerome Hughes, I think he's taking the fine. He got penalised on the day for taking Tanner Boyd off when he was making the kick. He tackled the player while he was in the air. And again, poor old Tanner Boyd. He got targeted in this game, which again, I'll get on Tanner Boyd. He was very good in this game. He controlled the game pretty well, considering last week where a lot of us, not me, but a lot of other Titans fans out there who I see on social media gave him a bit of crap. But he was very good in this game. Personally, his defense was pretty solid. Didn't do too much wrong. He got targeted, unfortunately. That Justin Olam hit, watching it live, I really did think that was a high tackle. But yeah, that's just me. Like, it looked like his shoulder came in and made contact with his chin, which Tanner did go off for HIA straight after that. So I'm very surprised that it wasn't a penalty on the day. But yeah, that was basically the Storm's problem. They just gave away too many penalties to us and too many errors. And yeah, they were quite easy to sort of break there when we had the ball. So yeah, it was a very good game to watch for me as a Titans fan. Obviously, we could have been better defensively, but I'm just happy we got the job done for the Storm. Oh, they're in for a tough year this year. They really are, but very tough to see for the Storm fans out there. But yeah, Titans were just a little bit too good on the day, and I will take that. And yeah, I did call this game. I did say Titans would get the job done 1-12 because I did see the Storm being a bit vulnerable, and they were in this game. So yeah, yeah, good game to watch, but very high scoring and tries. But yeah, great to see the Titans get the job done. Our first win against the Storm in 10 years. Very good to see. Also, I have heard news that Sammy Verrills, our number 9, it looks like he's having surgery today, and it looks like he's going to be out maybe for a few months. So that's another big injury hit for us. Again, another bit of adversity we have to deal with there. But I thought we did really well considering the amount of players we had out on the weekend. I thought we did really well to get the job done against the Storm. But yeah, very happy with that performance. And yeah, horrible news again with Sammy Verrills being out. That's now Sammy Verrills. Out, Jimmy Jolliffe, and also Bo Firma. 3 of our starting players are already out for the majority of the season. That's not great to see. But yeah, this is again big tester, and I'd love to see it this weekend for us winning. That's why I was so happy. Players we've had out, outstanding. I thought Chrissy Randall did a good job actually, just staying on that number 9 situation. I thought he did really well for us there, and yeah, it was great to see us get a win there. And yeah, let's see how we go for the rest of the year. Onto the next game, the Warriors getting the job done against the Cowboys. What a game this was from the Warriors. Again, they're proving they're such a good. They've been so good to start the year so far. Even against the game against the Roosters, they weren't that far off from winning. The Roosters were just a little bit too good on the day. But yeah, Warriors got the job done. Um, Cowboys. I mean, I tipped the Cowboys in this game. I said Cowboys 13 plus, but it ended up being the other way. Warriors 13 plus, with the Warriors winning 14 by 14 points. But yeah, I don't know about the Cowboys this year. Like, I wouldn't necessarily say they're having second year syndrome just yet, but they've looked um in round one they look good, but I think the problem at the moment for the Cowboys is they're just, I don't know, they're just seeming to try too hard in attack, and it seems like they're just putting too much focus on their attack, whereas their defense, like that day on Saturday, they got absolutely eaten up through the middle by the Warriors pack, who were absolutely outstanding. They were up for this game, obviously for Tohu Harris's 200th game. Well done to Tohu Harris for getting 200 games, and well done for the Warriors for getting the job done for him. Um, but yeah, the Warriors pack was just way too good. Wade Egan again was outstanding. Marcelo Montoya got another try there for them. Actually, he got a double. Um, and yeah, they just absolutely tore him up through the middle. Tamari Martin played very well, um, setting up some tries, and just the pressure he's taken off Sean Johnson, who again he started the year very well for the Warriors. I wouldn't say he's necessarily back to his career best form, but he's in a lot better form than he was last year, and he hasn't had as much pressure on him thus far to start the year, with his pack playing really well. And yeah, I'm just loving their resilience. I think they've only conceded 50 odd points to start this year, which is not bad considering the defensive struggles the Warriors have had over the years. But yeah, I'm just really um, interested to see how the Cowboys bounce back from this, because they've lost now two on the trot. They've got us next week, us the Titans, back up at North Queensland again. So very interesting to see how they go. But I think they can bounce back. But it's going to be very tough for them. But up there, but yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how we go up against them. But yeah, personally, I mean, again, the Cowboys started really well in this game, but yeah, they just got eaten up through the middle. And the Warriors were just too good on a day. I mean, yeah, at halftime, it was still close, 16-12, so the Cowboys were still in the game. But in the second half, the Warriors just outgrinded them. They just defended way too well. Um, and yeah, the Cowboys just weren't good enough in attack, and their defense just wasn't that good, as it normally is. That's why they're struggling at the moment to start the year, personally. But yeah, a little bit of worrying signs there for the Cowboys. But yeah, great to see the Warriors having some success. Um, and yeah, they're just proving to be that old Warriors side that was hard to beat, and they're playing well, and their middles are running hard, and they're aggressive and fast. So good to see that there from the Warriors. The next game on the Saturday. Now, this was probably the weirdest game of the round. There's been a few weird games this week. The Broncos getting the job done and absolutely putting a score on at the end on the Dragons, 40-18. What a game this was in the end. The Dragons were absolutely on top early, and it was 16-8 at halftime. Obviously, with the Adam Reynolds 2-point field goal right on halftime, keeping them in the game a bit there. But yeah, what a game this was in the end. Again, Reece Walsh, he was absolutely outstanding, getting a double there. Tony Staggs as well. Reynolds' kicking game in the first half basically kept them in the game, because for the first half, the Dragons were absolutely all over them in that first half, with that 3 early tries against them. Um, yeah, Broncos, their pack was getting a bit open to shreds there by the Dragons, and they looked really good to start the game. But the Broncos, yeah, after the second half, they just came out on, well, they didn't come out firing, but it was a very close game up until the 70-minute mark. And then that crazy last 10 minutes that everyone's been talking about is when the Broncos just took off, and they put 22 points on at the end of the game there to put a big score on it, the Dragons in the end. But apart from that last 10 minutes, it was a very tough game. It looked like the Dragons were going to get the job done. I did say the Broncos would win, and I said 1-12, but they ended up putting a score on the Dragons there. But this did look like a game that the Broncos would lose, as I said in my prediction for this round 3. But yeah, the Dragons were a little bit unlucky there in the last 10 minutes. But the Broncos, again, they just look very electric side. That's why this round 4 game clash against the Dolphins up there at Suncorp is going to be an absolute cracker to watch. But yeah, very interesting game. Yeah, Payne Haas in that last 10 minutes basically set up that win. For Reece Walsh, she just absolutely shredded them open. And yeah, Ezra Mam as well, he was very good. And yeah, basically Adam Reynolds doing what Adam Reynolds does. Just his kicking game pretty much saved the Broncos in that first half. And yeah, the Dragons were a bit unlucky, but yeah, they'll only get better from this. And yeah, Broncos, yeah, I think the Dragons showed the way that you can beat the Broncos. They just ran straight through them in that first half. It's only the last 10 minutes where the Broncos came back there. But yeah, a good game to watch, though. Absolutely. On to the next game here. We got the Bulldogs who edged out the Tigers at Belmore 26-22. Another weird game. So Addo Carr there got a double. Matty Burton also, and Perham got a try there very early, which set up the day for the Doggies. For the Tigers, Brent Naden got a try from a little intercept there in the 20th minute. But yeah, up to that point, like for the first 60 minutes, it was all the Bulldogs. They were all over the Tigers. The Tigers looked really bad in attack again. Like the execution was horrible. Again, they were running sideways. And they were just really struggling to like break the top of the Bulldogs. They didn't look troubled at all, the Bulldogs defense. Until that 66th minute mark when Luke Brooks got that try, and they actually, instead of running side to side, which they've been doing in the last few weeks, once they actually had players running through the holes and the gaps in the defense of the Bulldogs, they looked really dangerous. And they came back to 22-26 with 10 minutes to go. And the Bulldogs would have been very nervous. But yeah, again, even after they got back to 22-26, the execution was just very poor. Passes weren't hitting the mark. That should have easily been in that first grade standard. They were hitting the ground, or they were going too high, or they were 5 meters behind the player, or they were forward. Like, yeah, it was just a very poor game again there from the Tigers, but they do have some hope with those last 20 minutes or so to take into this week. But yeah, again, they were pretty poor. Bulldogs, Alamotti, he was outstanding there. He absolutely tore the Tigers up, making meters there. Reed Marnie also played very well. His kicking game was excellent. He pinned the Tigers quite well in that first half. I thought Matty Burton was outstanding. Very good there to see. And yeah, defensively, like for the first 60 minutes, 66 minutes, the Bulldogs were very good. It's just that little 5-minute period where the Tigers just got 3 tries in 5 minutes, which was good to see there. A little bit of resilience from the Tigers, which again is what they could take into next week. But yeah, Bulldogs were a little bit too good at home there, and they will take that. And yeah, I did say Bulldogs would win this game. I said 13 plus, but a little bit of the desperation from the Tigers at the end of the game there, and that spark at the end. Again, when Brandon Wakeham came on, that's when they started to spark, and they were good there in that last 20 minutes. And the forwards, they kind of just ripped through with David Clemmer and Brandon Wakeham. And I mean, John Bateman, like, he was very average. He started the game pretty well, but then as the game went on, he got worse and worse. Just gave away so many errors, penalties, which again, that's the reason they lost this game. Too many errors, too many penalties. But yeah, apart from that, Tigers do have some good things going next week, but so did the Bulldogs. Again, I thought they could have done better, obviously, in that 5-minute period. But again, they're just a little too good on a day there. And to finish the round, we had another good game here. The Raiders and the Sharks. The Raiders ended up coming trumps at home, 24-20, an absolute ripper of a game. This one also went down to the wire. Um, with Corey Horsburgh, absolute machine, getting 2 tries there for the Raiders, pretty much helping them get over the line there. But again, Sharky started very well. William Kennedy was absolutely outstanding again for the Sharkies. Braden Trindle, I thought, also played very well in a beaten side. Some of those tries he set up to Jesse Ramian and Brenton Nakora in particular, the way he just nice short ball and they just squeezed through near the line, that was outstanding. Brett Nakora as well, he was outstanding all night for them. Didn't do too much wrong. Um, yeah, I thought the Raiders were very good. They could have been a little bit better defensively, but at the end of the first half and towards the end of the game, when the Sharks were pressuring them, they showed some good resilience in their defense. And I thought this might be the game again where they might fade out of it, but they did well in the end to hang on, and they were really good defensively. Um, just before halftime, when the Sharks were absolutely peppering their line with possession. Um, but yeah, they were a little bit too good there. The Raiders, Ricky Stewart would have been really happy with that, considering their first 2 weeks where they were in a similar situation. Like, which again, I'll get on. So the sin bin here, um, to Royce Hunt in the 51st minute, which set up that Corey Horsburgh try, which pretty much ended up being the match winner for the Raiders. Although the Sharkies did get a try in that period through Jesse Ramian just a few minutes later. So that's when I thought that, oh no, this might be where the momentum shifts and the Sharks get back in the game and they come back and win the game late. I did say the Sharks would get this win this game, but unfortunately they just, again, too many errors, too many penalties in this game that they gave away, and they just got, again, eaten up through the middle a little bit. And yeah, the Raiders just showed a bit more desperation to get the job done at home, and get their first win of the season up there in front of their home fans. But yeah, again, great way to finish the weekend. Sharks were a little bit unlucky, but it's good that they do get Nicho Hynes back this week, who they've missed very sorely in the first 3 weeks. But yeah, we'll see how the Sharkies go. They do have some good signs, but once they get Nicho Hynes back, I think they'll be fine. It's just their defense that's been a little bit shaky to start the year. But once they do get Nicho Hynes back, I think they'll be okay. And then yeah, Raiders, they were just a little bit more desperate. The defense was a lot better, a bit more resilient on their goal line, and their attack looked a little bit better. And yeah, Corey Horsburgh was outstanding. Yeah, it's just, again, the teams that lost this week, again, it was just errors and penalties that let them down. Teams like the Eels, Rabbitohs, Storm, and really the Tigers and the Sharks, really. But yeah, at the end of the day, what a round has it been like, and just even the start to the season. It's been absolutely brilliant start to the year. Like, a lot of these games have been so close. Yeah, a few of them are blown out at the end, but most of these games have been so close to start this year. Like, this year's footy so far has been just absolutely outstanding, and I can't wait to watch the rest of the season. And yeah, it's just been absolutely cracking. Some of the attack from some of the sides in these first 3 weeks has been outstanding, especially for this early in the season. So yeah, let's just hope that this standard footy keeps up for the rest of the year. But yeah, it's been absolutely great to start the year. Now, to finish off the wrap up of the week, I'm going to have a look over at the ladder to see where the teams are at the end of the third round, and you can leave a comment down below where your team is. And yeah, let's just have a look. So the Broncos, after their great start to the season, are up in first, tied with the Dolphins. They're only above on differential there. they're both on 6 points. Manly are in third on 6 points. Again, not too far behind on point differential. Warriors are in fourth place. How great is that to see? Great job there from the Warriors. They're on fourth point, 4 points, just a better differential than the Panthers, who are in fifth after they're coming off that bye, also on 4 points. And my boys, the Titans, in sixth. Great to see us there on 4 points, on two positive plus two differential. Great to see us in there. Roosters in seventh, on 4 points, as well as the Bulldogs. Obviously, different points differentials, which you can see here. The Dragons again on 4 points, minus 8 points. They were really affected after that loss to the Broncos. And then you got the Rabbitohs on 2 points, as well as the Raiders, who are in 11th. The Sharks in 12th, also on 2 points. Storm 13th on 2 points. Really tough there for the Storm. They're on minus 14 points. And the Knights in 14th on negative 22. Cowboys in 15th, negative 25, who we got this week. Again, tough there for the Cowboys too. And then you got the two unbeaten sides here in the Eels and the Tigers. Obviously, not much of a difference here either. In points differential, only 6 points between the two sides there. Eels have been unlucky. But yeah, they probably should have won all three of their games, whereas the Tigers, they've been a bit unlucky too, but they've also hurt themselves really by not knowing how they want to play, and just been not really that sparking in attack really yet. But I think they'll get there. But yeah, they do have a tough game this week up against the Storm. But yeah, so that's the end of the round there. So again, just to recap, Broncos first, Dolphins second, Manly third, Warriors fourth, Panthers fifth, my boys the Titans sixth, Roosters seventh, Bulldogs eighth, Dragons ninth, Rabbitohs 10th, Raiders 11th, Sharks 12th, Storm 13th, Knights 14th, Cowboys 15th, Parramatta 16th, and the Tigers 17th. So that rounds out the ladder for the third round. Again, just a great weekend of footy. Hope it continues. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're liking this content and if you stuck through this far. And I will see you in my next video, which will be my predictions for round 4, which will come out on Wednesday, before round 4 starts and after I've had a look at the round 4 lineups and who's in and who's out. But until then, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video. And by the way, up at the Titans. Thank you guys for watching. See ya.